Before we go any further, just want to say today's video is going to be brought to you by Fandomion. If you want to buy some really awesome anime merch from My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, and Haiku, and so many other anime, I recommend using my link in the description box to check them out. And there's free worldwide shipping on orders over $39. You'll also get an additional 5% off using my promo code down below. For any of you guys who might be interested or on the fence, I highly recommend checking out their website. Pay attention to the size chart. That'd be the biggest thing I would tell you guys. But with that being said, though, let's jump back into today's video. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generations discussion. And today, I want to talk to you guys about one of the major ramifications on the fallout from Boruto Chapter 77 and Chapter 78, which is the fact that now that Kawaki's on the run and having crossed the line and sealing away Naruto, we have to discuss what the reaction of the 5 Kage, or rather the 4 Kage, is actually going to be once the news of Naruto being sealed away reaches them. And for the Gar fans, this thumbnail was either going to have Gar or it was going to have the current Tsuchi Kage on it. But since it's Women's History Month, the idea of long black rods penetrating the first female Tsuchi Kage wasn't a good look for the thumbnail itself. I think we all can pretty much agree that now that Kawaki has gone as far as to leave the village, he's very likely going to escape being captured. Out of all of the shinobi who are searching for him, there isn't anyone who realistically has a chance to bring him back by force unless you have Sasuke being accompanied by Boruto and Boruto take lead on that, and even that isn't a guarantee. But Kawaki is running low on chakra, so that does have to be factored in for any future confrontation. However, we're going to jump ahead a little bit. Now that Kawaki has sealed away Naruto, the Kage are going to have to be brought up to speed on the latest events with Kawaki, especially because he's taken one of their peers hostage, and that's where the interesting thing comes into play here. When we go back to when Naruto first saw that Boruto was dead, Shikamaru teased that they were going to have to bring the other villages into the fold at some point, which was not something that has happened since Boruto's death. Kawaki is not going to be the only topic of conversation that gets addressed in Konoha. Isn't going to have a ton of leverage when it comes to the next 5 Kage summit, with whoever it might be representing the village, which, as you guys know, I believe Kakashi's going to be one that steps back in to be Hokage. But taking a look at it, Kawaki is going to join a list that historically is pretty short when you look at it, in terms of people that the 5 nations have said, like, hey, this guy is a threat. When Naruto originally proposed having Kawaki placed under village security, i.e. Naruto is going to be his bodyguard, basically a walking cage that kept Kawaki confined, it was done under the belief that Naruto was the better option instead of having Kawaki placed inside of a literal cage and be in literal confinement. But there were some who initially weren't sure if this is going to be the best option until Naruto made his whole speech of, hey, I was a Jinchuriki, this kid, he was just like me, and he won over Gar and Dari right away, and then proceeded to have the other 2 Kage fall in line after that. The Kage were brought up to speed after the fact about Ishiki attacking the village, and the first thing that got pointed out was that without the power of the Nine Tails, Naruto likely wasn't going to be able to defeat Momoshiki, and that Boruto needed to be killed. Boruto since then is now 100% Otsutsuki, and while Momoshiki can't resurrect using Boruto's body since he brought him back to life using the remaining data of Boruto's chroma, he can still hijack his consciousness, which means that Boruto's still a problem. Code is building a 10 Tails army and also has the power that goes beyond Jigen. They warned Naruto about Amato, and sure enough, Inoki's granddaughter was absolutely right, that he was being played the entire time, that Naruto was being used, and that Amato had an ulterior motive. And now Kawaki has the Karma Seal and has used that same power in order to seal away Naruto, and nobody can actually stop Kawaki as he is right now. Some of the Kage, they're rightfully going to view Kawaki as a big threat, as big of a threat as Code, while some of them might agree with killing Boruto. They've said so in the past. They're likely going to have the same reaction as Shikamaru did, which is that it was more alarming that he didn't even hesitate to kill Boruto than the fact he actually went through it killing Boruto. It's the lack of hesitation that's the alarming thing. The same with he didn't hesitate to seal away Naruto when Naruto told him before Kawaki could kill Boruto, he'd have to kill Naruto himself. Kawaki didn't hesitate. If he could raise his hands against a brother and against someone who Kawaki admitted his entire world revolves around, what do you think he's going to do when someone else stands up and opposes him or his goals. He's gonna kill them. He's made that much clear. He's lumped in all shinobi together. He's dealing in absolutes, and we've seen it in the flash forward sequence. He says the age of the shinobi is over. They're not going to take too kindly to the fact that one of their own was sealed away by force. It's going to be viewed as an attack on the very shinobi system itself, not just because Naruto's one of the 5 Kage, but because of what it is that Naruto represents to the greater shinobi world at large due to his heroic efforts to save the world countless times before this. It's now their turn to actually save Naruto. Losing someone like Naruto is going to invoke a strong response from the other Kage, regardless as to if they agree with Kawaki's motives for what it is he's doing. The price for turning against a Kage is going to be a steep one that has to be paid. The only question is, how does Naruto's replacement handle this situation with Kawaki? And I think some of that comes down to if it's Kakashi, the goodwill that he has with the other Kage from when he was actually Hokage, that might be enough to have him respect Naruto's initial wish and get the other Kage to hold off, because Naruto views Kawaki as a Konoha citizen and as an adopted son. However, there's a really good chance for conflict should the story pay off the tease that we had of a 5 Kage summit being called at some point in the story, because Kawaki is strong enough of a threat that they have no choice but to consider taking other actions because he's too powerful to be contained right now. Someone like Gar is going to see the logic in wanting Boruto killed. He's suggested in the past, but he's also going to want Naruto unsealed. Those two things cannot happen at the same time as things are currently. The other thing is that while Kawaki's out roaming free on his own, it leaves way too much to chance whether or not Kawaki is going to be strong enough to take down Code without his limiters, on top of having a 10 Tails army. Their best option might very well be to mobilize and try to find Kawaki and somehow attempt to contain him, because they can't afford to have him running loose with Naruto sealed away, and with him being the only one who can actually retrieve Naruto from that dimension. If Code were to get his hands on Kawaki, it means that they have no way to rescue their Kage peer in Naruto, and Code now has what he needs to harvest a chakra fruit and to become a full Otsutsuki by Ishiki's words. That's the doomsday scenario. Code getting his hands on Boruto or Kawaki and feeding them to the 10 Tails. They already have to play defense to try and keep Boruto away from Code, but having another Otsutsuki and Kawaki roaming around free where he could eventually be caught is too big of a risk to take. Some of the Kage, they're going to agree with Shikamaru's assessment that Boruto and Kawaki were bomb brats, and the only way to neutralize that threat was to have them contained somewhere else, isolated, and work a strategy to deal with Code. Since Code isn't on Ishiki's level of power yet, as Shikamaru stated, he could be dealt with. Kawaki being gone right now and growing stronger on his own, and Code amassing an army, forces the hands of the 5 Kage, or rather the 4 Kage, because they'll want to have every option available to deal with Code's army, which includes having Naruto out. The idea of going on the offensive to track down the Otsutsuki and wipe them out, there's going to be some Kage who agree with Kawaki's line of thinking. Outside of Naruto and Gar, none of the other Kage thought it was even possible for this new generation to step up and to take their place in defending the ninja world if there was a greater Otsutsuki threat out there. They said that the threat needed to be handled right now because they couldn't leave it to the next generation. And Kawaki's the one taking those steps to do this, but it might be the way that he's going about this where things might get interesting. If any of them say they agree with hunting down the Otsutsuki but don't agree with killing Boruto, now that Momoshiki can't resurrect using Boruto's body, Kawaki's made it clear he's not above killing anyone to make sure that that happens, which means none of the Kage would be safe. The Kage would be in the exact same situation as Naruto and Sasuke if it ever came to a fight, where when Naruto and Sasuke fought Jigen, they faced someone who hard countered their entire ninja arsenal. It's the same for the Kage. Karma absorbs all the jutsu. The Sukuna Hikona makes it too hard to track when he shrinks down. Daiko Kuten summons Chakarovs and Qs faster than they can actually react to, and his Dojutsu shrinks whatever attacks are thrown at him, and if Kawaki ever reaches Ishiki's level of mastery where he can shrink all chakra attacks that are around him without having to actually look at them, as shown with the Kashin Koji versus Ishiki fight, he's gonna be an even bigger problem to deal with because he's shrinking stuff even in his blind spot instantaneously. However, I do think we're approaching a part of the story where Kawaki is going to be more of an immediate focus than Code because of the fact that Kawaki has one of the Kage hostage right now. Code is still a threat to the ninja world at large, but for the time being, he's staying put, and they don't have a way to Code unless Boruto's able to access Ishiki's dimension without the help of Kawaki's karma, which we don't have confirmation he can actually do so. It's going to limit the options of the 5 Kage, but the idea of Kawaki being hunted down by the 5 nations is something that offers a lot of conflict for the story because it further establishes that Kawaki, while it isn't wrong for his path of action, he's choosing the wrong way to go about things in the eyes of a lot of people. Right now, Kawaki has injected a ton of conflict into the story and is proving to be a very effective vehicle to move the story itself forward, especially if he has Ada and Damon with him. And when you even look at the fact that the car arc, the moment that Kawaki was introduced, Kawaki was the vehicle that moved the story forward. It was way more effective in doing so than the main character. That is something that has to be factored in. He provides both internal conflict for Boruto as well as the external conflict for the greater ninja world and his desire to kill Boruto so he can wipe out all of the Otsutsuki clan using the power of the Karma Seal. There are a few paths that this could actually take. However, I want to know how you guys feel about the Kage's looming decision on Kawaki. Which Kage do you think is going to prioritize wanting Naruto rescue? Which Kage is going to take the most offense to Naruto being sealed away by Kawaki? Which Kage is going to agree with Kawaki's plan but not necessarily his decision to seal Naruto away? While you think that over, click here to watch this Black Clover chapter 353 review on my Kryptonian Saiyan channel.